Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Miguel Mendez, marketing specialist here at Unravel Data. And before we get started, there are three housekeeping reminders that I would like to cover. The first is, throughout the webinar, please drop your questions into the question box, and we'll do our best to answer them live or respond via email if we're short on time. If you submit one of the top 10 questions during this event as ranked by one of our fantastic panelists, you'll earn some cool Unravel swag. Additionally, this webinar will be available instantly on demand to listen to at your leisure, so feel free to pause or replay as needed. And lastly, help us improve. Share your feedback on the session by rating this webinar, and let us know if there are any other topics you'd like to hear about. All right, that covers it. So with the reminders out of the way, the floor is all yours.
Today's webinar, Snowflake plus Unravel, a dynamic duo to supercharge speed and efficiency. I'm Clinton Ford, VP of Product Marketing at Unravel, and I'm pleased to be joined today by Sanjeev Mohan, Principal at Sanjmo, and Eric Chu, VP of Product at Unravel. So let's say hi to them here just for a moment. Hi, Sanjeev, good to see you.
Likewise, it's so great to be on this webinar. Thank you.
Eric,
Hi,
great
Sanjeev.
to see you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
And let's see, can we just take a moment, Sanjeev, would you mind just introducing yourself, give us a little bit of background on your experience and who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Clinton. My name, as Clinton mentioned, is Sanjeev Mohan. I am currently an advisor principal at my own firm called Sanjmo. Prior to this, I was at Gartner for many years, where I was in the data and analytics team. Although I was in Gartner most recently, my entire career has been in the data and analytics space since I started in 1990s. I have covered databases. A few years ago, I got into data governance just before GDPR was coming into practice, and that opened up floodgates of topics like data observability, FinOps, data quality, data catalogs, and so on. And then as of about a year or so, I've been very deep into all the AI related topics, such as RAG pipelines that many of you are experimenting with. Also, AI, what is AI governance, observability in the space of AI, some fine-tuning concepts. So it's been very exciting journey getting data ready for AI workloads.
Great to have you with us, Sanjeev. Thank you so much. And Eric, would you mind taking a moment to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Chu. I'm the VP of Product at Unravel, defining the product roadmap for the company. I'm part of the founding team and have been here for more than 9 years. I started off as an engineer, and I worked at every phase of the product cycle before I switched to product management. Very excited to be here and look forward to talking more with you.
Thanks so much, Eric. And we're grateful to have each of our attendees here today. Thank you for joining us. So data plays a critical role in scaling AI and machine learning initiatives. And as more organizations recognize the potential benefits of AI for their business, they also begin to experience the barriers to scaling AI projects and to moving them quickly from proof of concept to production deployment. And as per IDC's AI strategy view 2021 survey, the top 5 challenges to deploying AI and machine learning solutions, according to these 2,000 survey respondents, are first of all costs, next is talent, third is tools, fourth is volume and quality of data, and fifth is trust and governance issues. So as GenAI and analytics increase demands on data teams, they need new ways to accurately forecast their data cloud spend, improve efficiency, and increase automation. And today we have the experts here to discuss how organizations leverage purpose-built AI to efficiently accelerate and govern their data cloud. So Sanjeev, a question for you. What trends are you seeing as organizations begin to shape and define their GenAI strategy?
The first thing I would say is data quality, making sure you have the right processes in place to improve the quality of your data. Many people have said this before, garbage in, garbage out is back in vogue. And what I mean by that is that in the past, when this whole term of garbage in, garbage out was created, there was still an opportunity that some people in the finance team could sit all night the day before SEC quarterly reportings were required to be published and fix these numbers and get the pristine look of your data. You cannot do it now. The amount of data we're talking about is mammoth. The variety of data is across structured, semi-structured, unstructured. The speed at which we need to have high quality data is near real time. So having the right focus on data quality becomes number one job for everybody. The number two job is to also deliver AI cost effectively, because if we are going to incur a huge amount of cost, and then we start seeing diminished value. So the focus, the big trend is on making high quality data available in a cost efficient way, so we can then start delivering predictions or AI outcomes on corporate data in near real time. So those are the very important trends I see these days.
Fabulous. Thanks so much for sharing that, Sanjeev. How about you, Eric? What trends are you seeing as customers are shaping and defining their GenAI strategies?
Yeah, I think even though the industry has made tremendous progress in GenAI and Buzz also in the past year or so, most of the companies that are looking to leverage GenAI are still at a very early stage. And so they are still looking for business opportunities and figuring out what it takes to leverage GenAI. And so in this discovery phase, there is still going to be a lot of exploration and experimentation of different technologies. And they'll find out the gaps between their current state, like data quality that Sanjeev mentioned. But even before that, they may find out actually they don't have the skilled personnel, or the data pipelines are not even ready. So I think people are still just trying to figure out what they want to do and what their problems are. Another trend that I noticed is the democratization of the AI development. Now, more people can do AI. You don't need a master's or PhD to do machine learning or large language model experiments. So there's definitely a lower technical bar. But more people who may not be as familiar or expertise in the domain also may not realize the challenges. And so a lot of the problems related to, or the technical requirements related to leveraging AI may arise much more quickly with more people doing so.
By the way, I just, Clinton, I just reminded of a figure that just came out of Gartner. I think it came out in January of 2024 that says today the number of companies that have, or probably number of vendors that have AI embedded in their product is in single digits. By end of 2024, this year, Gartner predicts it'll be 80% of companies would have AI. That's a massive ramp up in just 1 year, from single digit to 80%. But that is Gartner's prediction. So to Eric's point, this adoption is going so fast, and having the right talent is going to be something much needed, something that needs to be addressed.
Wow, that's amazing, Sanjeev. What ambitious goals it sounds like these vendors have. And now as you talk with customers and clients, Sanjeev, are you seeing some common challenges that they're running into as they try to begin to implement this GenAI strategy to achieve this goal that they've set out?
Yeah. So reliability and accuracy are two huge areas that need to be addressed. And what I mean by that is LLMs, foundation models, are based on probability. One of the things that I see people struggling with is that they're confusing the old or traditional ways of doing things with this new LLM-based stuff. And what I mean by that is that in the past, we would write a SQL statement, and the SQL statement would actually deliver us the exact results, but they were based on keywords. But probability-based LLMs will give you what is statistically most or nearest to what you're searching for. And this kind of semantic search can easily lead to hallucinations. If I write a SQL statement let's say on top of Snowflake, and I say, show me, select something where I give some predicate. If that predicate is not met, it'll just say no rows returned. But in case of an LLM, it will return some results, although it's not a good statistical match, and that is why we see hallucinations. We are working right now very hard to reduce the amount of hallucinations. It may not come down to zero. And how are we doing that this is where we are using vector databases, vector searches. We're combining an ability to first search our corporate data, find a set of knowledge base to send to foundation models. And this is also done for the reasons of cost. Because if I send all my data to an LLM and say, okay, find me some predictions in this amount of data, then I'm also going to incur a lot of latency and cost. So those are the trends that I'm seeing. How do I build an architecture where I can combine my data and AI workloads into a common package? Rather than having two siloed architectures. This one is for data, and it has things like Fivetran, dbt, Snowflake, Looker, Monte Carlo, you name it, all of that. And then this one is for semi-structured, unstructured data to get intelligence from PDFs. Document is based on OpenAI APIs, LangChain, and all of that tooling. Well, this is not what customers want. They want an ability to be able to search across structured and unstructured data. So having that unified architecture stack is a huge challenge, and a lot of companies are working on it. I know Snowflake is one of them that is trying to bring these two worlds of data and AI together into one single unified stack.
Wow, thanks for illuminating that for us, Sanjeev. And so interesting to hear about those challenges. Eric, how about you? Are you seeing some challenges as well that are shared among some of the customers that you speak with who are starting on their Gen AI journeys?
Yeah, I'll go back to that lack of skilled personnel point that I made earlier. So this winter, I went back to Seattle for holidays, and I met with my friends from Microsoft, AWS, and Google, and all of them have told me the struggle to hire new headcount for more than a year even. And now you see layoffs quite common, not just in those places, but in other places as well. So definitely there's a difficulty, a challenge in finding the right people to do, especially when companies are trying to accelerate in this direction. So now when the people are doing the remaining work, right, they often run into, they still face technical challenges and work that they have to do. And they often, if you look at the work, right, it's not, besides building LLM and doing Gen AI, there's a lot of prerequisite work that people have to do. The data quality problem that Sanjeev mentioned, they have to build the data pipelines and experimentation that I mentioned. And all of that, you find problems that where you may see inefficiencies in the data operations and failures that people have to troubleshoot and rerun and figure out what's wrong. And so all that actually exacerbate the cost that they are incurring on the cloud platforms. I think cost is the number one priority, even number one pain point for people doing AI, even before the GenAI popularity. And combining that with the lack of personnel, so productivity becomes a huge pain point.
Oh, fascinating to hear those things, Eric. Thank you for sharing those. Now, Sanjeev had mentioned retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. But it seems even in that case, you need something that you can retrieve, something that's up to date, something that's reliable.
Correct.
So Eric, are you seeing, as teams have this demand for reliable and production-ready data pipelines, what are you encouraging customers to do in order to achieve their efficiency and performance goals? Yeah,
I think all the companies that have been experimenting this know that they need some kind of observability, especially data observability, to know what's going on, right? To find out when things go wrong, and then they have the data points to understand. But often I would say they need more purpose-built observability depending on the platforms, because each platform is a little bit different. If you just have a general data observability platform, you often need more expertise, domain expertise to figure out what data points are you looking at, what problems are you looking at. The other point that I would say people need is, besides data observability, people need tools about FinOps to understand the cost. But it's not just as general FinOps, because general FinOps would be suited to tell you how much you're paying, whether there's an increase over time, but it doesn't go deep enough to connect the cost with the performance issues, with the performance inefficiencies. So often you only get as deep as the account level, or maybe the resource level. But often the inefficiencies arise from application level inefficiencies, where you need, today there are very few tools who can combine the two and give you the right exposure. And the third thing that I would say is automation, right? After you have understood what is the root cause of the inefficient pipelines or the failures, then you need to put some guardrails to prevent that, because it's not just one or two. These problems are happening at scale. So automation is key to preventing and governing this aspect.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing those, Eric. And Sanjeev, from your perspective, what advice would you give, especially given that context, to organizations as they embark on their GenAI journey?
I would take what Eric said to one level higher, and I would say I mentioned in my introduction the fact that I got into data governance when GDPR was getting ready to come into action. I noticed that companies were not doing data governance until and unless they had to do it. So it became an afterthought. What I'm telling companies is that make sure AI governance is part of your strategy. It should not be a band-aid after the fact. I actually put FinOps under this broad umbrella of governance. Why I say that is because in case of doing AI governance, what I'm trying to find out is that, am I using the right model for my use case? That is actually a very big challenge right now. In fact, when Eric said that a lot of companies are in the prototyping phase, that's because they're trying to find out what is the right use case that will deliver me the best results. So governance is not the process of what you do. The governance is a process of how well you do it. And under how well, I would put cost. It is so easy for a user to just ask all kinds of frivolous questions to a foundation model. Those queries are actually very, very expensive. So you want to monitor the usage. You want to monitor the usage for even things like accuracy, grounding, curating the results, and making sure you are fine-tuning the results as you go ahead. Another reason for monitoring, auditing of your AI setup infrastructure is to understand how expensive are these queries, how often are they being run. I talk quite a bit about RAG and vector databases and all. That is because I am a firm believer that not everything needs to go to a foundation model or an LLM like Llama 2 or Anthropic or Claude along with OpenAI. But maybe the results can be returned. If it's the same question being asked over and over, then organizations should embed the question and the responses and store it in the vector database so they can then serve it if it's the same question that was already asked. And that reduces the cost, reduces the latency, improves accuracy. So this AI governance piece is the biggest advice that I will give to people. One more thing I want to add in this AI governance is that AI governance is not just to monitor and assess how the large language model is behaving and so on, but it is also a documentation of what are your use cases, what models are being used. Can I discover how this model was trained? In other words, can I ensure that I'm not inadvertently going to expose some intellectual property or sensitive data? So this is the entirety of AI governance, which is my number one advice.
Wow, thanks for sharing that, Sanjeev. That's powerful.
Okay.
Well, it's been great having this conversation with you, Sanjeev and Eric, together on this panel. Thank you so much for joining us, Sanjeev, and as usual.
Thank you so much.
Forward
It's my pleasure.
to further conversations like this.
Sounds
Thank
great.
you,
Thank
Sanjeev.
you. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
So Eric, now let's shift over to talking about some of the latest capabilities for customers in Snowflake and Unravel, and how those are helping teams prepare for and embark on their GenAI journeys. So with that, let me turn it over to you for an overview of some of those new capabilities that you're seeing on the Snowflake side, as well as what's new in Unravel for Snowflake.
Yeah, actually, Snowflake has done a lot of great work recently in providing cost visibility to address the concerns that we talked about earlier. So first of all, they have this great UI-based cost exploration where you can see dashboards and usage trends, timeline-based drill downs, etc. They're also, I believe, they're providing query estimated cost at the query level, going beyond the warehouse level. And you can also see tagging for account level and org level. So just for more information, I strongly recommend people to search for the Snowflake cost management video on YouTube, because they go through that in detail about what is coming in the roadmap and also what is in existing. What Unravel does is complement the strategy of Unravel is to complement what they have and provide a deeper level of cost management in terms of optimization and governance. Okay, let me share my screen. What we are seeing here is a summary of the cost governance supported in Snowflake. It's broken into 3 areas: visibility, control, and optimization. For visibility, Snowflake provides all the basic support, such as usage dashboards, showing you a fine granularity of usage data. It supports tagging at various levels like account, warehouse, table, etc. And it also provides resource monitors to monitor and alert based on user-specified thresholds. For control, we know that they provide knobs for users to specify the warehouse sizes and the limits on multi-cluster, the min and max. They also allow users to specify a time limit of idle activity so that it will suspend when the warehouse is not doing anything. For optimization, they provide platform improvements such as indexes, clustering keys, materialized views, etc. So those are provided as a service. People don't need to specify what indexes to build and can get the benefit automatically. The query profile and history and warehouse load and history, etc., those provide more details about the workload, but by themselves, they don't really optimize. But they allow people with domain expertise to look into the profile and history and make optimization manually. Now we're looking at the cost management UI in the Snowflake console. The cost management is under the admin. And here you see in the account overview, you see all the KPIs such as the spend, the price per credit, spending credits, average daily cost, etc. It also shows the top warehouses by cost and credits per query over time, most expensive query types. So this provides a lot of information for people to look into what can be done. It's certainly very useful. Over here, you see more insights. But these insights, you can tell they are about these services about the optimization, such as the automatic clustering tables, large tables, indexes, materialized views, and the insights are all about whether these services are rarely used. And if so, then you may actually save money by not using these services. So now, what Unravel does to complement this is to actually provide a deeper level analysis at the warehouse and the query level to provide insights that Snowflake is not providing. First, for Unravel warehouse insights, we all know that for warehouse sizing, we can specify different t-shirt sizings of warehouses based on the workload. But often we don't know what is the right size. And we know that if the warehouse is underutilized, then we can specify a smaller warehouse. But this is today, without Unravel, you have to look into the data and figure out yourself. For horizontal scaling, we also have the knobs to set max clusters and min cluster, but what is the right max? There's also another consideration, which is that a lot of these warehouses are light loaded. They don't have much running on them, and they actually should be consolidated to save costs. So this is a high-level idea that many people know, but exactly which warehouses they should do it. And also you need to consider whether they are using the same data. So all these, today, there's no automatic method that users can use to find out what. So Unravel is a purpose-built AI to generate concrete recommendations based on the workload. So for all these approaches, we'll provide concrete recommendations on the warehouse sizing, the min and max clusters configuration, as well as which warehouses you should consolidate. On query insights, we also break down into different categories. There are join inefficiencies such as cross-join Cartesian products and joins that lead to an explosion of data. For performance, we identify queries that should be moved to a larger warehouse because on the current warehouse, there are not enough resources and they are queued up. Or queries that should be moved to smaller warehouses because they don't need the resources and they could be run on a smaller and cheaper warehouses. We also call out slow operator, so people can look into why these operators are slower than expected. There are tons of anti-patterns when people write SQL queries, especially for the people who are not very skilled at SQL or not familiar with or knowledgeable about the schema. So these anti-patterns are usually pitfalls and bad practices about writing SQL that we can help detect and alert users. Some examples, such as union versus union all, or using distinct or aggregation in a subquery, or avoid using order by without limit, etc. These are common pitfalls, but for people who don't understand or who are not expertise of SQL, they often make these mistakes. Then the last category, projection inefficiencies, are about selecting select star or selecting too many columns that leads to a large data scan. So now let's take a look at the at Unravel. So this is the page that shows you all the trends and chargeback of the cost in of your Snowflake account. This is the same as what the Snowflake cost management UI shows, and you can drill down into the different chargeback by users, warehouses, and tags, and then look at the top most expensive warehouses, etc. Now, when you first log into Unravel, actually, you would first see the health check that automatically analyzes the last 15 days of workload and tell you all the inefficiencies at once. So we show you the basic KPIs of cost and annualized cost based on that period. Also, the savings from the inefficiencies that we identified, annualized for the whole year. So you know the impact if you don't take actions. Now, going to the inefficiencies, here are the categories of warehouse insights and query insights. Here you see an example of how we give you concrete suggestions about what to do. And then for the query insights, we also have, when you click on it, you'll get redirected to the queries page, where you will see all the insights that you can select, and you can drill down by cost and duration, or by any user and warehouses. And these are the query insights that I mentioned in the slide. Now, once you have, let's take a look at the an example where we have the query insights of cross-join. Right. So here, when you go into an actual query detail page, you see the insights about these about the query. For example, here we're seeing that we detect a cross-join, and we suggest you to use an inner join instead. So after that, here is an example where we have done that. And what we can then do is to compare side by side between the before and after runs. And we can see that, first of all, side-by-side query text, you can see now we have changed it to from cross-join to inner join. And then we can see that this query, the duration goes from 1 hour, 41 minutes, where the user probably has ended the query, to 21 seconds. And the cost also has dropped dramatically from $6.7 to just 2 cents. So this feature allows you to do a side-by-side comparison to look at the before and after, as well as troubleshoot rogue queries and comparing that to any normal runs. We also have dashboards that support different kinds of alerts. And actually, in the health check, we would tell you what are some of the alerts that you can set, and also we can tell you the threshold based on analyzing your workload, and tell you the estimated savings for the year. Now, coming back to this, the last part of Unravel is how to help you operate. how to help you take action on these recommendations, which is one of the most biggest challenges for companies facing cost problems today. They want to encourage engineers to take the action. How Unravel helps in this problem is that we would provide CI/CD support, where all the insights that you see will show up in the places where people do the pull request, and they can see it in the pull request review. So the customers can, the companies can require their engineers to take actions at the pull request phase, so that we can prevent bad practices going into production. Lastly, to recap, Unravel provides inform, optimize, and operate phases to help you manage your cost and performance. For inform, we provide granular cloud data cost visibility, forecast tracking, and budget tracking, as well as SQL performance metrics. To optimize, we use purpose-built AI for the Snowflake platform to tell you concrete recommendations about warehouse sizing, SQL insights, as well as data scheduling insights. And then lastly, we support monitoring, alerting, and also CI/CD to help safeguard, put guardrails on your to prevent rogue queries. Thank you very much. Clinton, back to you.
Thank you so much, Eric. Really appreciate those examples and demos that you provided. So Eric, we've had some questions coming in while we've been presenting here today, and just wanted to ask you a few questions on behalf of our attendees. So Eric, here's a question that came in. Does Unravel support observability for Snowflake?
Yes, so Unravel provides observability for Snowflake warehouses, queries, and users to help you understand and optimize performance and cost efficiency. We also provide a free health check report to organizations who are curious to know how much they could save by consolidating and right-sizing warehouses, improving queries, and optimizing query scheduling.
Nice. Looks like another question has come in here, Eric, asking, can this solution combine AWS and Snowflake observability / FinOps?
Definitely. We provide observability for EMR, Snowflake, and other cloud data platforms. So feel free to reach out with your specific needs, and we would be happy to provide a demo of how you can leverage Unravel for your data analytics on AWS and Snowflake.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. Here's another question that came in. What type of data does Unravel store or collect from the users? Is it only metadata that you need?
Yeah, so we only collect metadata in system tables and also information about the queries from the query profile, which are mostly the performance data. So we do not access the actual data about your domains or in your data lake and other databases. That data is not shared with Unravel.
Nice. Thanks for clarifying that, Eric. So another question that's related, as we collect that metadata or telemetry from the system tables that you described, what is our data governance model here at Unravel?
Yeah, so for security, I believe that's what you mean. Unravel focus on keeping our clients and their data safe, and is committed to security. So the solution designed by Unravel manages customer data based on the 5 SOC trust services criteria: security, availability, processing integrity, confidentiality, and privacy. We use TLS encryption, which is the same standard used by secure websites to secure data in transit and at rest. So Unravel is SOC 2 compliant and has earned a SOC 2 Type 2 certification.
Great, that's excellent, Eric. Okay, one other question. Is Unravel offered as a pay-as-you-go model?
Yes, Unravel for Snowflake is available in freemium and a pay-as-you-go model. Learn more at unraveldata.com, platform/pricing-options.
Thanks so much, Eric. Really appreciate your collaboration here today. And to all of our attendees, thank you for your time. And if you have questions, we'd be happy to follow up with you after this event. And we look forward to seeing you at future industry events and webinars.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.